my mom brought home a flyer that said cheerleading, and then the other one said baton twirling, and we were young, we were like, that one. So, I mean, it just kind of formed from there. Also, my mom did color guard in high school, so it's kind of, you know.
She was pushing the baton twirling because it has a similar feel to color guard, and, you know, at 5 years old, you can't really twirl on flags, so she wanted us to start young. We were both born premature, and so doctors always said that we wouldn't be able to be active and just really involved in a lot of physical activity. And so my mom was totally bent determined to prove them wrong. And so we surpassed all the doubts when we were itty bitty babies. But then when we got to be 5 years old, we started baton twirling and we became really competitive with it. I think a year after we were into it, and we knew we wanted to twirl together, we wanted to do duet, and then we won 2 national duet championships, and then went on to win team championships.
It was crazy though, because at first we were like, oh, this is so cool, we're doing a parade, and now it's like we're competing, like, what is this?
Yeah, so, it just kind of gradually forms, and the whole competitive baton twirling world is just a whole foreign thing to a lot of people.
It's an unknown world.
And people out on the field, when we're out on the field and people are in the audience and we drop a baton or, you know, we make a mistake or we forget, you know, for just a second, they don't realize that happens, you know, probably 290 days of the 365 days of the year, because we're constantly at it all the time, except for the 2 months of summer that we tend to take off. And it's just, we don't think a drop is that big of a deal because we drop in competition and it's like, oh sweet, you only had a drop, that's awesome, you only got, you know, 0.5 penalties. But then you go out in front of 60,000 people and you drop and it's like, oh my god, and we're like, well, she did it, and she's like, well, she did it.
And it was on Who Vision,
oh yeah, oh yeah, the one time when
you dropped the fire, and I got 4 texts after the game saying, oh my god, you dropped the fire. I'm like, no, wasn't me.
And I said it totally was her, so it's pretty cool to be a twin in twirling because nobody really knows who did it, and we just kind of laugh it off and it's fine. But Mr. Peace was not fond of that moment because he was like, who dropped the fire? Yeah, we're like, me.
We had to compete against 85 pairs or something like that, and we would be one of those 85. And so if we made the top 3 in the semifinal, then we got to perform in the final round. And the final round was a huge deal. If you won, you won the title, and if it was a World Qualifier year, which is every 3 years, we got to go to Worlds the following year. Unfortunately for us, we always got second those World Qualifier years.
So we'd never been out of the country to perform as part of Team USA, and the 2 championships that we won the semifinals, and then we won the finals. So that's where the Grand National and World Open. And if it's a World year, it'll just be Grand National and World. So it'll be like you're going to Worlds. Where if it's an off year, it's World Open. So we've only won on the off years. We've won 2004, 2007, and then we've placed top 3 every other year except for 1 year when we got 4th.
Which is a huge accomplishment.
It's a huge accomplishment, but it's not. We're definitely thinking about. We're still something that we're discussing, but we're definitely thinking about going back this year to compete for the World Championships because it's our last World Qualifier year. You know, in 4 more years, we're not going to be twirling. This is the last World Qualifier year, and I think that you go to Italy if you win one of the events this year. So it's for everything, for 2 baton, 3 baton, strut, solo teams.
Yeah.
The winner of those divisions go on to compete as part of Team USA at the World Championships against every other country that has twirlers. So it's a huge honor, but we've never been fortunate to go.
My band director actually asked me this yesterday, and I was like, we're the same. And he goes, no, you're not. And he was like, there's no way. And I was like, well, I think we're the same, but we're
better at
different things. So, she's better at rolls,
you know, the back of the neck rolls and, the elbow pops and rolls, and then, anything with 1 baton. I'm really good with, speed and stuff like that. And then the, dance portion of it all, I feel like I have a little bit more technical. I could get more technical points as far as, grace and flexibility than you, but then Brittany has like phenomenal juggling skills. She can do 2, 3 baton, basically any trick you ask her to do, she can do it. And I'm like, no thanks, that's just more batons that I can drop. I'll just stick with one. I mean, I can do I can do 2 and 3 like trick. I can do 2 and 3 baton tricks, but Brittany has like routines on routines on routines.
And I think I've always kind of been more of a risk taker. On the field, we kind of had arguments because I was like, no, like, we got to do it the way it's choreographed. And she goes, no, it's windy. Like, let's cut it back. So it was I definitely wanted to, feel it out and do it. And sometimes we did kind of have to take one for the team and do what was.
Brittany and I have sandy brown, almost blondish type color hair naturally. So our first 3 years in the CMB, we had the same color hair. I hadn't decided to dye mine yet. And then,
I actually dyed mine dark brown the first year, and then it just kind of faded a little bit. But after that, it was more of her dark hair. I got highlights, so I feel like some people could tell us apart from our hair color, but
a lot of people say that I have like a wider or narrow face, and she has a wider face. Some people say that like
our eyes are different.
Our eyes are different. Like hers are shaped like footballs, and mine are like baseballs, and.
She's an inch and a half taller than me, so.
My teeth got like really messed up in this accident I had in 5th grade, so if we smile, our smiles are different sometimes. It's really like an up close kind of thing. I bite my nails, she doesn't.
But I have a birthmark on my right shoulder.
She tends to wear like more casual like clothes, and I'm more like dressed up sometimes.
I do not take 2 hours to get ready in the morning. That is not me. No.
But that's just some differences that I guess could be visible. I started competing my junior year of high school when I won Miss Mechanicsville, and it was just it's a local that we have just for high school students in the Mechanicsville area.
For community service.
It's just about community service in our town, but it doesn't go on to anything bigger like Miss Virginia or anything. But that definitely, bit me with the pageant bug, and that's why I am the way I am now. But then the year after, you can compete until you're a senior or until you graduate from high school. So the year after I won Miss Mechanicsville, Brittany competed and she won Miss Mechanicsville. Then after that, she was like, no more pageants, like I'm done. She finished out her year and was very committed Miss Mechanicsville, but that was pretty much it. She was like, I'm done. I don't have to deal with that anymore. This will be my 5th year competing in the Miss Virginia organization.
That's crazy.
And I know. Actually, it's my 6th year. But my first year that I competed, I was a senior in high school. So while she was Miss Mechanicsville, I was starting to compete in Miss Virginia. And I did 5 local preliminaries. I won talent at probably 4 of the 5. I won swimsuit like 1 time, but I would always end up 3rd runner-up. And so I knew that it definitely was lacking in a different area, which was probably interview. And I hadn't had that much experience at that point with the politics and the platform and how passionate you have to be about community service at that level that all the other girls were at their 20s or their early 20s.
It was pretty intense though. The whole process is swimsuit, interview.
Mm-hmm. So this year, I've kind of made it a goal to represent a different local every single year, not just where I'm from, but so that I can get to know Virginia and get to know those areas and be able to serve in different parts of the state, And so my first year I was Miss Chesterfield, which is about 30 minutes from Mechanicsville where we live. And then the second year I was Miss Hampton Newport News, which obviously is in the Virginia Beach area. The third year I was Miss Greater Richmond, so I was actually representing the entire Greater Richmond area. And then the 4th year, which is this year, or I'm giving up Miss Apple Blossom Festival this November, and that's in the Winchester.
You done a lot of community service with that too.
Yeah.
You actually won the award at Miss Virginia, right?
Yeah, the Community Service Award. So it's definitely, it's a process. And then in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be competing for Miss Roanoke Valley. So I'm crossing my fingers if that works out, because if I should win Miss Virginia this coming June, it's Miss Virginia's home is in Roanoke. So it would be nice to have that kind of sense of home before I compete for Miss Virginia. And my ultimate goal towards Miss Virginia is to always have done the job before I get the job. And so I feel like, after 5 years, I should be able to convey to the judges that I can be Miss Virginia. So it'll be fun. I'm getting a new talent this year, or not a new talent. I'm always gonna be a baton twirler, but a new talent song, and then still working on my fitness and nutrition.
Yeah, she's already started. She's like a month and a half in. She's ready to go.
Yeah, currently have a sponsor here in Richmond. It's awesome. So just hanging out, enjoying life, and getting some scholarship money to pay off the rest of my loans. We are something now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've always been something, but I think just having the building that states how important the arts are at our school and how important it is to get involved with some kind of family, whether that's, football and athletic sport or the marching band. I mean, the marching band is its own separate thing now. I think that's great that we can have our own building to go and either talk to Cooker Peas, like have those kind of moments with them. If we need to go in and get our bags to just go down to the field and practice real quick, that's awesome. I know that the band, we couldn't really practice in the band building because of the height and just the floors and stuff, and we didn't want to mess anything up. But it was just nice that the band could go and have their own spot so that nobody could use
their own sectional time.
Yeah, nobody could use rain as an excuse, and we actually could have practice time and feel prepared for the games because of that. And then I know I think it was Tuesday or Thursday nights we would have Bible study there. I know I went, and that was just a great way to have time with the band and be able to kind of sit in a place where we were making a lot of memories anyway. So it's really nice just to have.
It wasn't just a building where we stored stuff.
Yeah.
There were memories made, moments that, I worked in the office, I had a job there. I mean, it definitely serves as more than just a building to put instruments in or practice in, so.
And Hunter Smith coming in and, cutting the ribbon and stuff our third year. No. Yeah, because Audrey was there. It was our third year. That was really memorable.
I honestly think that just being responsible and making my own choices, making the right choices, time management, like I said, leadership, just, I don't know, it just brought us so many lessons. I feel like it taught us so many lessons.
I know.
It impacts my life every day.
I would say it's more of the CMB impacted my life because it was kind of the closing of our twinship, I guess. Because right now we are branching out into our own different things in life. We want to do two totally different careers, two totally different paths. We both maybe want to move away from Virginia and start our own lives. And so I feel like the CMB impacted my life, and that I can look back at it and say, I performed with 300 plus people with my twin sister. That was kind of the closing of our chapter together twirling, and I was glad that I was able to do it with them.
It ended so soon.
It went by so fast. I've never had something fly by, or I felt like fly by that fast in those 4 years. I mean, we performed at 28 home games.
Well, I think it also had to do with being at a community college and then only having 2 years at UVA. I think that's also what made it fly by really fast.
Because it's we just got there. Crazy.
Coming into VCU's atmosphere was a little bit different. I live at home, so I commute about 20 minutes. And so I think that my experience already had kind of been, I'm just going to go up the street to school. It wasn't like I lived on campus or had a lot of friends. So it's sort of like you're starting over in grad school, obviously, but it felt like I was a freshman again. But twirling, I was definitely fortunate. I contacted the pep band director, Ryan Cavalier, and I got the approval from him, and he told me, he was like, I really don't know what to do with you yet, but, we'll figure something out. And I'm very fortunate because I'm the first ever feature twirler for VCU. It's a pep band, though, so you've never seen a twirler with a pep band. Maybe, for UVA, obviously, we had the basketball band.
They've been really receptive towards your talent,
and so I think it's just really a lot to take in because I'm not twirling with Victoria, and having that aspect, me being brand new, I feel like I have to kind of live up to, I have to make a name for myself, and It's been pretty great so far. I've toured at all fall events, so soccer, field hockey, volleyball. This weekend specifically, I have 6 events to twirl at. So
it's really intense.
I had 2 soccer games yesterday. I have an event today to welcome the family to VCU for all the students. And then tomorrow I have a doubleheader in soccer, and then we have our first basketball scrimmage. So it's definitely a lot. I have to kind of fit in my schoolwork around that, but luckily enough I'm only taking 9 credits, so kind of works out. But, you know, of course, above all of the twirling, my academics comes first, so definitely been a whirlwind, but I feel very blessed, and my experience at UVA has helped me so much, you know, entertaining the crowd, knowing what to look for, knowing how to form those relationships with the band. So I think it's been I feel pretty grateful.
Mm-hmm. We don't twirl competitively anymore. We both retired this past summer, but when we did compete, we're always practicing for competition. So we are in our training months the same time that band camp is going on. So from August to January, we are in the gym, or we were in the gym.
4 days, 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week for 3-4 hours.
Yeah. And we would either split that up into, you know, a 3-hour block of the day, or we do 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, between, you know, the AFC and then the huge facility at the huge ceiling at U-Haul, which was nice for big high tricks, and because we're on the advanced level, we have to keep up with those kind of difficult moves, and our body always has to be in shape to be able to do them. So taking time off, like even if it's, you know, 3-4 weeks, it can make a huge difference if you don't keep.
Well, yeah, and we had to add, like, you know, treadmill run for like 2 miles, that kind of thing, because if not, I mean, by the time we get to the end of pregame, we're like dying. Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, we still were dying, but it would have been worse if we hadn't have done those workouts.
And we considered, we definitely considered game day as a long day practice, because we would practice with the band, and then we would do our whole show out on the field, and then we actually became better duet partners because we had those 4 years of those 4 fall semesters of twirling together. We would be more prepared for duet than when we were in middle school and high school competing, because we had been doing it, you know, all year round in front of people, and we were never judged at UVA, like physically, like judged on a score sheet, but we always felt like we had so much to live up to, so that feeling never went away throughout those 4 years of performing and then competing. It was great. It was actually kept us on our toes.
Getting to the collegiate level is probably the hardest part. Some people just, when you first start twirling, it's like the basics, like twirling,
flat twirls, finger
twirls, like it gets so boring at first, especially when you don't start at a young age, and you're not really like, when you're in 8th grade learning basic twirls, it gets so boring because you feel like you're wasting your time.
Stick with it.
Yeah, just stick with it. And I think once you get to the collegiate level, or even the high school level, you kind of know where you want to go with it.
Like right now, I'm coaching a girl named Mallory, and she's in 9th grade, and she has been twirling for, I think, 4 years or 5 years, and she had a coach that didn't do things technically the way that I do them, or like that I like to coach them, so I've had to kind of re-coach her on the proper way to, you know, point your toe this way, and when you leap, you're supposed to plie before you jump up, and just little things like that. And she wants to twirl in college. She wants to either be a future twirler or on the line. She's not really specific, but, you know, that's what she wants to do. And so we're working really hard. I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see where it's going to go, but I tell her constantly every day, you have to practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to get to where you want to be. And people don't realize that when they're, I guess, when they start out later in life. I feel like when you start out young, like we did at 5 years old, practice was just kind of a thing, a part of our routine.
And to this day, it still amazes me that when I don't get a trick, the more I practice it, I will get it. And I don't believe it at first. I'm like, I just can't do this. And, you know, I do it like 20 times and I still don't have it. And the next day I'll come in the gym and I still won't have it. And the next day it just clicks. Like, I think with the right coaching and the right mentality, it just all kind of falls together.
You just have to keep persevering and you'll get to where you want to be.